And we're back, and today we are continuing with our Meet the Staff presentations, and this time today we have Ben Alexander. And Ben has been with PACTV since 2012.
Yes.
And Ben does a whole bunch of different things. So let's talk about, first of all, before you came to PACTV, you grew up in?
Duxbury.
Okay, so
One
you're
of
a
our
local
lovely
boy.
towns, yep.
Yep. And you went to Duxbury High School?
Yes.
Okay, and then off to college.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what you wanted to do, what you wanted to be, where you applied to college, what you thought.
So I ended up going to George Washington University down in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And actually when I first went, I wanted to major in electronic media,
Okay.
which sounds like an interesting major. You know, it's not a very popular one. It's everything from radio to the internet to television.
Newspaper, everything?
Yeah,
Social
all
media?
that
Okay.
stuff. Come together. So it was a pretty interesting major, and so I applied to GW and I got in, and then my freshman year I went, and they decided my freshman year to cancel the major because it wasn't
So
very
there
popular.
was Ben, all excited for this major,
and
it was
going on in,
canceled.
and I was like, I'm doing this, and they're like, no, you're not.
So what did you do?
Well, first I tried this option where you could create your own major,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty cool. And I tried to recreate the electronic media major by taking
took all the classes.
existing classes that were still out there, and then they said you can't do that because we just
Got rid of that
dismantled
major,
the whole
right.
thing. And then I had a English advisor or an English professor as my advisor. And he kept, every time I went in to see him, he kept pushing, oh, you should try English. You can always do a lot with English. And I mean, I think English is great. I speak the language and everything, but I don't see myself reading and writing like all day long.
Right.
So I kind of didn't do the English thing, and I ended up going with business just because it's, I found I was good at it naturally,
Yep.
and you can apply business to
any
pretty
field.
much
Yeah,
anything.
to anything. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So I thought it was a pretty good major to go with.
Did you get to take any of the courses at all as electives, like photography or filmmaking or anything like
well,
that?
I took some photography classes in high school, and that might have been what sparked my interest in
Yeah.
everything. But then when I went to college, I actually did a film studies minor. So
Okay.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did still kind of do something with electronic media.
And you like film?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, but it wasn't like a hands-on type of education. It was more traditional, where you're reading textbooks
Yeah.
and watching movies and
Yes.
going to lectures and.
I remember. I
yeah.
remember well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about PACTV.
All
You
right.
started at PACTV in 2012.
Yes.
Okay, and how did you come to get the job here, and what did you do?
Well, coming back from Washington, D.C., I still had this interest in film and television and whatnot. So I found out about PACTV, and I started taking classes here and volunteering, and eventually Dave came along and said, hey, you should cover some of these government meetings we have. We need
So
some
Dave
help
is
with that.
the educational
Government.
coordinator. Yes.
Government coordinator, yes.
I mean, sorry, the government
Yes,
coordinator,
yes.
right.
So
he coordinates all of our
the
government
meetings.
programming.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So Dave, had me come on and do that, and then a few months later, I actually started doing stories for PCN. So this lovely show.
Awesome.
I remember the first episode of PCN. I had one of the Duxbury stories in there.
Very
'cause I
good.
was the guy from Duxbury.
Right.
So
The local boy makes good.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
And then after that, September of 2012, I was offered a position here
Yep.
as working in Silver Lake and as a production assistant.
Okay, so let's talk about what you do now. So right now
Yes.
you do government services assistant. So you're Dave Antoine's assistant.
Yes.
And that's to do with all the 4 towns that we cover, and we
Yep.
cover Plymouth and Duxbury, Kingston and Pembroke.
Correct,
And we
yes.
cover meetings and government shows in all those towns.
Yep.
And we have government shows here in the building.
Yes.
Give me examples of a couple of those shows we have in the building.
Well, right now I think we have about 8 or 10 or so. I mean, it always changes. Shows that local politicians
Yep.
and government officials will come in, and usually it's a monthly or every 2 months or
Right.
so. And they have guests from the community or
Right.
guests with people they're working
talk
with,
shows.
and they highlight a topic
Yep.
for about a half hour, and then it's a good way for them to communicate with
Right.
their people
Right.
at home. And
So you're involved with not only the meetings we do in all the towns, but also the government shows that we
Yes,
film
yes.
here for the different elected officials.
Yep.
Now, you also are the educational media specialist
Yes.
for Silver Lake Regional High School. What does that entail? What does that even mean?
So basically, it's really different with every single high school, and we work in both Pembroke and Silver Lake, and it's even different with those 2 schools.
Right.
So with me at Silver Lake, there's an after-school program that I run, and I work directly with the librarian who runs the independent study for the
students.
AV,
Yep.
I guess. So I kind of work through her, work with the students, and I work with teachers and help them out with classroom projects
Okay.
and whatnot. And the most exciting thing, I would say, in the 4 years that I've been doing this is we're starting a new course, finally, this upcoming spring, called Digital Communication Multimedia.
Okay.
So this is like the first time we actually have a class during the school day where we have a whole
real
class
curriculum.
of kids.
It's not
It's an elective course, but it's still a course in the
curriculum, right. Right.
So really excited about that because that means we're going to have a lot more interest. We're going to have, I think there's a couple of classes and it's a small class, but it's still about 15 or so students. So it's a decent
That's wonderful.
amount of kids.
Yeah, a lot of high schools, people don't realize, but in a lot of high schools, there's no media programs because there's just no funding for it. So it's like the after-school AV clubs.
And it took a while to get here, but now
you have
years
one.
later we're here, and
that's terrific.
hopefully we can grow and get more classes and more options for students.
Now, I want to just blow your horn for a second. You received the Plymouth County Education Association's Distinguished Service Award in June of last year at Silver Lake Regional High School.
Yes.
And the award is given in appreciation for outstanding support and interest in public education and was presented to you, the media specialist at PACTV, in appreciation for your work in providing media education and support to the faculty and the students of Silver Lake Regional High School in Kingston. Linda Redding, who's the library media specialist who you work with at the high school, nominated you, and she was present at the presentation. I hear you were quite surprised. You didn't realize you were going to get an award.
Well, it was like kind of a last-minute thing. About a week earlier, she sent me an email saying like, "Oh, we'd really love it if you could attend this meeting." It's like I thought it was an end of the year staff meeting where they're going to wrap everything up, and it was even after graduation, so I figured it couldn't be that
important,
anything that big. But I walked in and. Everyone was looking at me and they're like, "Oh, Ben, why don't you come on up? And here's the award." And I was just like, what's going on?
That's great.
Everyone's applauding for it. And
well, congratulations. Good for you.
Had no idea prior to it, but it was a great honor.
Well, you deserved it.
Yep.
And you also do our summer program. You are one of the people that runs the summer program. We have a documentary program that we run here with 7th, 8th, and I believe it's going to be 9th graders or 6th, 7th, and 8th graders this year.
The past couple of years it's been kids going into 7th and 8th. Going into 8th and
we're going to expand it a little bit.
We switch it up every year, so it's
but it's a program that we run for 2 weeks in the summer.
Yep.
And you help and you bring the kids out and they make their own documentary.
Yeah. Well, the first week we have to treat it like they have no prior experience. So they come in, we teach them everything from writing all the way through to the editing.
Yeah.
And then the second week they make the documentary and.
It's pretty amazing what they do in 2 weeks.
Won awards the last couple of years.
That's right, the Telly Awards for the documentaries.
Impressive. What these
so that's
kids can
great.
Do. Yep.
And we have about 30 seconds left.
All right.
So you also get involved outside in the local film community. Tell me a little bit about that.
I guess I started meeting people through PACTV that were involved with independent films and projects, and it's always been an interest of mine.
Right.
So I always have volunteered myself and my time and my skills, and people welcome it, and I've gotten involved in tons of projects all
and there's a lot of local films being created around here that people don't even know about because they're not mainstream films.
One of the biggest independent film areas in the whole country.
Yeah.
Really, so.
And you keep your hand in that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're wonderful, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.